how long have you been selling real estate? Just give the audience some context.
Yeah, so I got my license about 11 months ago. I believe it was the last day of July last year.
So this is your first year, and how long have we been working together so far?
Yeah, so it wasn't long after I got my license that I was able to find you on YouTube. I was looking through videos, how to get leads and everything. And so I believe I signed up after I recovered from COVID last year, which was middle of September.
Got it. So we've been working together pretty much your whole first year. And so how did you have the intuition to say, hey, I got to get a coach. I can't go into this business just going in alone. How did you make the decision to get into coaching?
Yeah, I love that question. It's kind of funny, after I got my license, I was top of the world. I was king of the world. And I went to the brokerage. I went through the orientation and everything. I went over a bunch of paperwork, and I'll never forget, as we were walking out the door, they said to me, okay, you bring the people and we'll help you from there. And I was like, oh yeah, I got this. And so I walked out the door and I was like, oh shit, I don't have anybody.
Yeah. Oh, that's so funny.
I need to go and find some people.
Yeah. So you left there and said, okay, well, like a lot of people that get into real estate, they don't think they're getting into the lead generation business. They don't find out until after they get their license, and they have that, oh shit moment to say, uh-oh, what did I just get myself into? So that prompted you to go and get some help because, well, was it a situation where the brokerage or where you're at maybe doesn't help from a lead generation standpoint at this point?
Yeah, I mean, it's not a whole lot from that. They basically help, if you have people, they'll help you with the paperwork, how to fill it, how to enter it in, all that stuff.
Got it. Okay, very good. And not to take anything away from your brokerage. I mean, that's how 99% of brokerages work. They're there to help you with the paperwork and the transactions. But when it comes to going to get clients, most agents are on their own. So tell us, what is your goal or what, like your first 12 months when you're getting into this, what was your goal? And now that you're doing what you're doing through what you're learning through the coaching system, I want to talk about what your goal is for the next 12 months.
Yeah, so I think really before I got into it, I thought, I just go in the afternoon, evenings, show houses to buyers after I got off work at my main job, make some side money. So I get into it, and I set goals to where I wanted to be able to transition into this full time. And so I learned really quickly that I was going to have to be on the phones, making outbound sales calls in order to get the business. And so, my goal over the last sort of 6 to 8 months has been to be able to set a pace to make enough money to quit my job and still be able to pay the bills,
Sure.
Sort of save some up. And so actually 2 weeks from today, I'm going to be quitting my full-time job, getting into it full-time.
That's awesome.
And so then my goal from there is to, set a pace for at least $100,000 a year, and then, shoot for multiple six-figure salary.
Love it. I love it, man. How exciting, right? I mean, I think a lot of people get into this business like you did. They have a full-time job. You're working essentially 2 full-time jobs. You got real estate.
Okay.
You're doing more as a part-time agent than most full-time agents are doing. And that's why I want to have you on the podcast. So let's talk about, lead generation for a second. How are you getting new clients as a part-time agent? Because this is the question I get asked all the time.
Yeah, sure. So far it's been all for sale by owners. That's all I've done so far. I really haven't had time to branch off into anything else. I've gotten pretty good at that. Every morning I wake up at first, every morning I wake up and write down all the fresh for sale by owners on Zillow. And when I get home from work, I would write it down again, search again, and I would call through them every day. And I would try to take breaks at work to call through them in the morning. So I'd call through them in the morning, call through them in the afternoon. And so it's all been for sale by. I've had a couple of Spear, one closing, one under contract, but other than that, for sale by owners all the way.
Got it. So just give us some perspective. I mean, how many deals have you done, part-time so far?
Yeah. So I really only prospected for about 2 months. My story is a little different. From the beginning of October to about the beginning of December. And I was able to generate and close 4 for sale by owners and 1 Spear closing during that time. And then, I took a break, trying to focus on helping my wife get her license so she could get licensed. And then, she was licensed in January this year. We've been working as a team since then. It's starting to snowball right now.
Exactly. Yeah. Cause now you're able to leverage. We're working with your wife too, and she's doing a lot of the outbound prospecting. You go on the appointments. It's a really nice thing. But in the first 2 months when you started prospecting and following the method, you were able to do 2 deals a month, right? In the 2 months that you did it. So that's phenomenal. So are you telling me and the people that you actually pick up the phone and call people? Like, you don't just sit back and post stuff on social media and just business comes your way?
No, forget about it. That stuff doesn't work. This is king. The phone is, it's the only thing where you can, over the next hour, have 10 conversations with 10 people that are thinking about selling their house right now. I mean, I don't think there's any other way that you could do that.
That's right. I totally agree. So first, was there fear before you started doing that? Because I'm assuming you don't have a phone sales background in direct sales. So what was the mindset? How did you overcome that, Adam, as a new part-time real estate agent?
Yeah, I actually have zero sales experience coming into this. I've been a commercial truck driver and a factory worker. And so, I mean, it's just, I have to go back to the motivation. You have to remember your motivation and why you're getting into this. And if you don't have a strong motivation, then you're probably going to slack off. But if you got something behind you that's keep pushing you, you just have to keep reminding yourself, remembering why you're doing this to begin with.
That's amazing. And so once you're clear on what it is that you want, doing the work becomes easy because you're tying it to the motivation. So I love that. So let's talk about, what are you saying when you're calling a for sale by owner, right? A lot of agents understand that for sale by owners are a good opportunity, but they're like, well, dude, what do I say? How do I actually set the appointment? So what are you saying? How are you positioning the conversation where the for sale by owner wants to meet with you?
Yeah. So basically it's just, hey, is this the owner of the house? Yes. And then I tell them, I respect the fact you're selling it on your own. I think it's a great idea. And I ask them, if for some reason you're unable to sell it on your own in the next 4 to 6 weeks, at that point, would you be open to the idea of interviewing agents? And then a lot of times they're like, yes, because you're pushing it out into the future. You're not asking for now business. And then you're able to put them in the system, build a pipeline, and follow up with them. And the key is, a lot of it's in the follow up.
Yeah, and we're going to unpack all of that. So step one is you're essentially following our For Sale by Owner 2.0 script that we teach all of our coaching members. And so you position the conversation in a way where it's not threatening, because we're respecting the fact that they've decided to try and sell their house on their own, unlike a lot of our competitors who are trying to convince them that that decision was the wrong decision, which causes a lot of animosity between agent and for sale by owner. So that lowers the walls, allows you to have a conversation. What would you say, if you had to guess, like what % of the for sale by owners you talk to are open to the idea of considering, interviewing you down the road if they can't sell on their own? Like, would you say it's 50-50? Would you say it's more than that? What would you say?
I would probably, I don't really track that number. I'd probably say it's at least half that are open to it down the road.
Exactly.
A lot of people are open to listing with an agent now because they're a for sale by owner. They want to try it on their own for a little bit. And then after, a few weeks of them not being able to do it, they're a lot more open. And then if you've already built that relationship with them, it makes it a lot easier in the follow-up to get the listing.
Yeah. And it makes it simple, because when you make that call, you're not asking for anything now. You're saying, hey, I respect what you're doing now. I'm talking about if what you're doing doesn't work, do you need a backup plan? Yes, no, I'm good either way. And so and that's what we find too, is about 50% of the time the for sale by owner says, yeah, if we can't sell, we would be happy to meet with you. So you're setting a face-to-face appointment under those circumstances. Let's talk about, or not. Are you still doing the preview appointment, or do you put them right into follow-up and then try to convert to a listing appointment later? What are you guys doing?
Yeah, we're trying to qualify them before we even leave the house.
Okay.
Qualify an appointment.
All right. So you guys, essentially, your first step is to do exactly what we just said. Find out which for sale by owners in your market are open to interviewing you down the road. That's step number one. Those people then go into the database and we start to follow up with them, start to cultivate the relationship. Talk to us a little bit about your follow-up system and what you guys are doing to stay top of mind to win listing appointments.
Yeah, so I think there's definitely room for improvement there. So we do the folder system. I've got the Monday follow-up right here. It's getting really thick. And
that's great. Isn't that a good feeling?
Yeah, it's awesome. It's awesome.
That's your pipeline right there. That's all money.
That's it. It really is. And so we try to follow up with them every week. And we got them on an automated email, let them know about any new active pendings that come up in their area. And so we just try to stay in contact with them as much as possible. Hey, how's it going? Were you able to get any offers over the weekend? We try to offer to be a second set of eyes on any offers they get. Try to just lead from a point of, providing value even
That's
before
right.
you get.
So what you have learned is to essentially be their real estate agent before they understand they need a real estate agent. Is that right?
Oh, yeah. And then when the time comes, you're that guy.
I love it. I love it. So you guys are following up. How long between that initial conversation, Adam, and how much time goes by roughly before you're able to set a listing appointment, go there and interview to list the home, roughly?
Yeah, it's different with everybody. And so on average, we're finding that it's going a little bit quicker now. I know a lot of stats show 4 to 6 weeks, but we're seeing, 2 to 3, maybe 4 weeks. People they're just sick of it.
Yep. And we're seeing the same thing, right? I mean, because all that means is you only have to follow up for 2, 3, 4 weeks when no other agents are willing to do that, because they just want to call once, try to hammer them to get that listing appointment. If they don't follow up. They don't understand how valuable follow up is. And so 2, 3, 4 weeks down the road, you're converting things into a listing appointment. So talk to us about what you've learned on how to give a compelling presentation. You and I broke down one of your presentations, but give us a high level understanding of what you're trying to do at the appointment to win the listing.
Yeah, so I'm just trying to position myself as the expert. But first, you have to really ask questions about where they're at in their situation to show them that you care. Because like you say all the time, people, they don't care about how much you know until they know how much you care. And so I really try to break down their situation, really understand it, sort of ask second level questions. We're moving here. Okay, why are you moving there? Okay, this is timeline. Okay, why do you have to move in this timeline? And then you can start breaking down all the numbers and get into the CMA and what you know about the marketplace.
Yeah. Is there a process that you've learned, or do you go in there and just wing it?
Oh yeah, no, I go with the process that you teach in the program. It works really well. And so, yeah, it's
has that made it easier for you to go and have these conversations as a new agent versus what I see a lot of new agents doing is winging it, right? And so can you speak to that a little bit and what a process has been able to do for maybe your confidence and your conviction at the presentation?
Oh yeah, for any new agent that's listening to this, get with somebody that really has been able to find success, somebody that has been there and been successful and can show you what to do, how to do it, and when to do it. Because if you just go in and wing it, I mean, the learning curve is so huge. And so if you get with a coach, get with a team, somebody that's going to teach you what they know, and it just makes it so much easier, and you find success so much quicker that way.
Yeah, I love it. Well, that brings me right into my next point. I mean, if you could go back 11 months ago, go back to the day where you passed that exam, you called your wife, probably you were on top of the world. Like you said, you were like Leonardo DiCaprio in Titanic, right? I'm on top of the world. And go back to that day. What advice would you give yourself knowing what you know now?
Sign up for a reverse selling program day one.
Well, I appreciate that. Oh, that's great.
I mean, man.
That's it, eh? That's it. Well, I appreciate the kind words, but I mean, are there things that you maybe thought to yourself getting into the business that you learned quickly didn't serve you? Like, did you think real estate was going to be something different than it actually is, that maybe a new agent right now, Adam's watching, so they can understand what they're getting into and what they're going to need to do to start succeeding at a high level?
Sure. I think at that time that I thought that people were just going to come to me. And people are just going to call me on the phone and be like, yeah, I'll show you some houses after I get off work. And then, I have to buy some houses. but I realized really quickly that it's an outbound sales business. People aren't going to come to you. Like if you're a teller at a bank, you just have to sit there. People come in the door and bring business all day long. But it's not like that in this business. You have to pick up the phone. You have to do outbound prospecting. Well, I mean, there's different ways to do outbound prospecting, but none of them to picking up the phone and making phone calls. And so that's really one of the main things I learned. In order to succeed at the level that I wanted to succeed at and make the money that I wanted to make, you've got to get out there and make outbound sales calls.
You got to play offense, right? You cannot just sit around and hope, because hope is not a strategy. Right? So like, that's the thing is, and everybody says the same thing. That's why I asked the question, because I want people to know that before they make a decision to get into real estate. Because a lot of people, if they knew what this industry actually was, I bet you half of the people wouldn't even do it. If they knew that what they're really getting into is a highly paid telemarketing job, I bet you half the people would not get their license. But that's the truth. You are in a direct outbound phone sales position. Your state just gives you a little piece of paper so you can sell a piece of real estate. Would you agree with that?
Oh, that's exactly right.
Yeah. And that's what it is. It's no more, no less. That's what it is. That's what it takes. So, dude, I appreciate it. I want to do this again with you. I'm excited that you're going to resign from your job here in a couple of weeks. You put your family in a position to do that. Obviously, you've got the confidence to do that. That's what a lot of people in this industry are striving to do, right? Is to make enough money in their part-time real estate business so that they can quit their full-time job and make real estate their full-time thing. So really looking forward to interviewing you again in the next 12 months. But honestly, I love working with you and your wife. It's a real honor to be part of this journey with you guys. So I want to thank you for jumping on this with us today.
Oh, likewise, man. It's an honor to be a part of this coaching program with you. I hope you continue doing what you're doing for a long time to come.
I appreciate it. I appreciate it, Adam. Have a great week. I'm sure we'll see you next week, and appreciate you coming on with us today.